Hello, everyone, and welcome to the STL Tech Talk podcast. My name is JJ Hammond. We have another great show for you tonight. Are you ready for the top tech news stories of the week, applications that you should try on your favorite gadgets, fun and lively commentary, and, of course, our very special guest interview? We have a twofer tonight. We have two very special guests. Up first, an 18-year cellular industry expert. He has worked in customer service, sales support, IT, marketing, sales, and PR. He likes to mix it up to get a feel for as many different views of the business as possible. He came to Verizon from a legacy company, Ameritech Cellular, that's old school, then merged to GTE, then SBC, and then to Verizon. He managed to make it through every cut without getting cut out. The incredible Paul Ulreich. Thank you so much for being on, Paul. Say hello, Paul.
Thanks so much. Yep, I made it the whole time, and I'm still here.
Yes, still on kicking. And thank you again for so much being on the show. It's definitely our pleasure to have you on. Next up, she has been in the wireless industry for 8 years and finds it fascinating. Before joining Verizon, she was in communications with experience in credit card industry, technological PR, chemicals and plastics, healthcare, and retail marketing. She enjoys the blend of technical possibilities and consumers' uses that wireless represents and loves telling people about it. The very amazing Brenda Hill. Hello, Brenda.
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much for being on the show tonight as well. It is our pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
But this show is not possible without my good friend, partner in crime, and fellow tech enthusiast, editor-in-chief of STLTechTalk.com, producer of Codecast by STLTechTalk, co-creator of our new sister site, STLTechChic.com, that's chick without the K, the uncanny Kevin Harvell. Say hello, Kevin.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Brenda. Welcome, Paul. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. And so, everyone, you can follow us on Twitter at STLTechTalk, Facebook, Google+, Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Windows Phone, TuneIn Radio, or listen directly from our site. Visit STLTechTalk.com to keep up with our tech news, podcast, Codecast, find out how you can advertise with us or hire us to consult you on your technological needs. And don't forget, you can interact with the live show by sending us feedback to podcast@STLTechTalk.com or by submitting via the chat room, and we will do our best to answer those questions in a timely manner. Special thank yous go out tonight to a wide variety of people, but I'm going to keep this short. Nebula STL, Jason Akara, thank you so much for allowing us into your home, so to speak. Adriana, from Verizon as well. Epic Systems, Courtney Howell, also with Verizon, did a phenomenal job on the little hangout that we did. And also Devon, the Entremother #1 on Twitter. We'll have those posted thank yous out for everybody to check out here in just a moment. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into our very special guest interview. Paul, we'll go ahead and start with you. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you've been working with Verizon for 18 years? You say but 18 short years. Tell us a little bit about, expand on that a little bit.
Right, well, I say short years because it's gone so fast. It was my first kind of real job that I had that paid me more than $6 an hour, I think. So, and you know, and working my way up from the bottom and having all the different experiences.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Paul.
Gotcha?
There he is.
There he is.
Hey. Oh, sorry about that. I lost you for a second there.
Yeah.
But having all the different experiences has really given me kind of a very rounded out view of the business and all the different departments and how everyone interacts with everybody. And it's I can't believe it. Every year I say I can't believe it's been this many years already. It's been 18 already, and looking forward to about 20 more.
There you go.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's really cool to hear, and it sounds genuine because obviously we talked to some people who are, oh, I love my job. Yeah, they're right behind me, so I'm saying that.
Right.
Right there. But no, it sounds like it's genuine enthusiasm, and I definitely felt that the other day we had the hangout. So, Brenda, how long? So it says you've been in the wireless industry for about 8 years. Was that with Verizon, or what other kind of experience did you have there?
Verizon is my first wireless experience, so it's pretty exciting for me. I really liked it. Really
awesome.
Like coming from different industries that I was in.
Now, was it kind of a complete change, or was there some similarities?
Well, there was some similarities because when I did chemicals and plastics, I actually did resins for semiconductor. And my client was a large chemical company, so I had a little bit of knowledge about electronics, more on the hardware end of it. So that part was interesting to me, and then the fact that there was also the consumer end was interesting.
Sure, yeah, and bridging those gaps, and something, yeah, that I can kind of talk to both of you about, obviously, is the business and consumer side, especially with Verizon, reaching as many consumers and businesses at the same time. So I'm sure that's an interesting intertwining relationship for sure.
Definitely.
Maybe one of your old employers would like to enable some of our machine-to-machine solutions.
There you go. There you go. Kevin, you're up.
All right. So, with working for Verizon, public relations reps, did you happen to also be Verizon customers before you started working with Verizon, or did that kind of help seal the deal to become Verizon users in your personal lives?
Well, I'll go first because I've been here a long time. Of course, I came from a legacy company. I did not have a cell phone before I started working for Ameritech. I know they were just starting to go more from the installed and the big brick phones to the smaller handheld phones. Right as I started is kind of when that transition happened. So then once I got one, my first phone was a smaller flip phone. I just
like those little StarTechs or whatever those
right.
were called.
Right. I had a Motorola Elite, and then I had the Elite with the black battery. It was like, ooh, it was all black. And then I did have a StarTech for a while. I had a StarTech for a while, and let me tell you, I was pimp when I had that thing.
A little StarTech, everybody wanted one of those.
Right, and then I took a college class about 3-4 years ago, and the guy who was on the project team that built the StarTech was the teacher. So I used to bend his ear. I used to bend his ear all day long, asking him questions about that.
Tell me everything. He's probably like, God, just leave me alone.
Right.
How about you, Brenda?
Well, I got my first cell phone in 1998 after I was in a bad car accident. So Verizon actually wasn't around in 1998, or maybe I might have been a customer at that time. So I didn't switch to Verizon until I went to work for them in 2006. But the interesting thing was they asked me what kind of phone I had when I was on the interview, and I didn't want to tell them. It wasn't even a flip phone. It was a little more basic than that.
Oh, it was the candy bar style.
Candy bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the one where you had to have the backpack on and you kind of like, Roger,
sling.
Charlie, it's on your 6. So that's well, I'm sorry to hear about the accident. Everything obviously worked out okay, I guess. But so if that was were to have happened now, obviously you would have been able to get help right away, huh?
Yeah, what happened, the reason I got the phone was because, obviously I couldn't call for help. I was kind of stuck in my car, and, people who were there who saw the accident did have cell phones, and, they were able to call right away, and that just made me realize how much I needed one.
Yeah, it's time to make that transition for sure. And I know a lot of people are making the transition from, the normal, landline base or the home phone, just all completely wireless. So, we've been witnessing at STLTechTalk that transition, and just in our personal lives and business-wise, just everything's moving to mobile. So it's very interesting to see that migration, especially when you get the people who know nothing, absolutely nothing about phones or smartphones or mobile, and they're like, I don't know, does this phone work with what you're just like, oh my gosh, it's like, how do I get the internet on here?
Right, I've got my dad. I can video chat my dad now. He knows how to do it. He's pretty tech savvy, and he said he'd never have a smartphone until I convinced him that he did need one, because of how easily he can video chat with and see his grandkids.
Right.
So now he's a big fan of it now. He loves it
to learn now.
Yeah, he loves it when I video chat him, and I just kind of hold the phone up to the baby and to the kids, and I'll be like, look at and they love it. So. Right.
Well, they say you bring people together. I mean, that's right. So. Frankly, yes, that's exactly what happens, and that barrier, because there's a lot of people that I still see people with flip phones, and I'm like, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need to upgrade. But what are some of the things that you enjoy most? Paul, we'll go with you first about working with Verizon.
Well, probably, as you heard in my intro, I've worked in about, I kind of lost count. I was trying to keep count of all the departments. I think it's 6 or 7 at least.
Oh,
and so it gives you, when you switch departments and take on a new role, it's like you're starting a brand new job. So it's a very refreshing feeling. I mean, I went from sales to PR. I had worked with some of the people who are in PR in previous jobs, so I knew them. But once you get into a department, that's when you really learn about it, and it just blew me away of all the things you don't know once you join a new department. So that's probably the best part, is it gives you so much variety. If I've been doing a job for 4 or 5 years and I want to do something new, move to a new department, and it's like you started a new job, but you still get to keep your vacation time and benefits and all that stuff. So and you don't have to start all fresh over at a new job. So that's probably one of the best parts for me. And of course, all the gadgets is kind of cool too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Fitbits and the GS4s and the GS5s and the new iPhones and all that stuff.
And tablets and all sorts.
Yeah, you can just go on and on and on. So the other thing would be, so do you prefer the PR side? Because personally, I hate sales. But you don't have to tell me yes or no. But just wink at me or whatever. But no. So do you like much more the PR side better than the sales side now?
Well, they've all been different. I mean, sales is tough. It's very numbers driven, and that's what you're out. When you're selling, you're out there selling. That's where you make you get commission, and you're out there driving. And when you're not out there selling, you're not getting paid. So it's tough. It's very competitive out there. PR is just a lot of people have asked me which ones I like the best. They're all different. They all have their own. When I was in IT was fun because people would call you with a problem, and you'd be able to fix it, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, thank you so much."
Right. The gratitude is much higher.
Right. That was fun because
instead of sales, which is like, yeah, sure, yeah.
Right. And they're all different. So it's like, which of your kids do you love the most? You like them all. You like them all the same. They're all just different.
I like this here. Drowning myself in cool gadgets every day is like giving a lion unlimited steaks. Right. Brenda, you're up next. So, what for Verizon? What would you say would you most benefit from working with Verizon?
Well, honestly, it's going to sound like a cliche, but it's really true. It's a different job every day.
Okay.
Some days we're doing disaster recovery in a community that's been hit by a tornado. Some days we're doing talking about a new product. Some days we're doing a demonstration. Some days we're talking to a hostile reporter that maybe doesn't like us so much. So there's a lot of different things that you're always doing every day, and you really never know what you're going to have.
Yeah, I could totally see that. And for people who don't believe that that's genuine, don't have your job. Because frankly, I mean, there are so many changes that are happening every day in the consumer space and the business space, like we talked about before, bridging those gaps. But just in mobile in general, with T-Mobile and all their crazy stuff that they have going on, AT&T and Verizon, and everybody just, the competition's so strong. You have to know what the competitor is doing. You have to know what your stuff. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're selling. You have to know what the back-end technologies are, and all those sorts of things. So. Yes, it is a different job every day for sure, hands down. So also helping people was another thing that you listed here.
Yeah, I really like to explain, not always through the media, but sometimes customers call me directly, or I have the opportunity to do a demonstration, or just talk to someone one-on-one about how their device can help. Like when I get my hair done, I keep telling the girl who does my hair that she needs a tablet. And so then I tell her why, so those sorts of things are really the fun part of the job. I just love telling people what the technology can do for them.
Yeah, that's really cool. And some people, unless you show them, they're just like automatically nope. You're like, really? Nope.
Right, put it in their hands is a big thing, especially when you're in sales. Get it in the person's hands and let them fall in love with it.
Exactly. That's kind of the way that I was with texting. I had friends at work that were always doing, over there on the opposite side of the line, texting and stuff. I'm like, what is the point? And then I finally got a texting plan. I'm like, oh, that's the point.
Let me tell you, Kevin, if you have an ex-spouse, texting is the best thing that ever happened.
Oh yeah, you don't have to talk.
That was the first time somebody's made that comment on the show.
Right.
Hold on, I just got an award somewhere, like an Xbox award. Anyway, like download complete. No. Achievement unlocked. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Plus, plus. I was thinking like a +1 just appeared on her screen right there.
People can relate to that comment, I'm sure.
Oh,
Probably get a bunch of +1s
when
on
you
that
said
one.
that, I was laughing at like another language and other people. It was great.
Yeah.
Kevin?
All right, so if you guys could recommend just one phone from the Verizon lineup right now, I mean, there's a lot of great devices, and it's probably really hard to choose, but if you could just choose just one, that somebody comes to you and says, okay, what device should I get? What device would you recommend them? Brenda, I'll let you go first.
Okay, well, I can tell you what I'm using right now. I'm using a Samsung Galaxy S5. A lot of women seem to like the Samsungs, I think, because the form factor is kind of lightweight. It's easy to hold. The display is really, really vibrant, and it's simple to use. So that's the one I'm using right now. I am kind of partial to Android.
Okay, nice. Paul, what about you?
See, I purposely wanted to make sure Brenda got to go first there, because you're right. The S5, I've recently switched to, or kind of back, I should say, to the Note 3, because I just absolutely, when that phone first came out, I just fell in love with the screen. I mean, it's a bigger phone, and it's kind of funny. The other phone I carry is an iPhone, so you've got this giant phone and you got this tiny phone, you know.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It could get in my belly, but you could. There's just so many features on it, and when you use it, it's just, I don't know. Just I fell in love with the screen. I never fell out of love with it. The camera is great, and I love all the other functions. But looking at this screen, because I watch a lot of videos. When I'm at the gym, I put it up and I watch Netflix, and I'm constantly looking at pictures of the kids. I mean, in the pregame there, you saw the parade of children and animals behind me there.
That was awesome. You know, if you're going to do it, go all in. Just go crazy. Have like 3 dogs and 3. How many kids do you have, by the way?
3 kids, 2 dogs. You saw a combination of all of them behind me.
Yeah, it was kind of like a dozen. What was that?
Cheaper by the dozen.
Thing going on there. If you're going to do it right.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So for multimedia, I don't know, there's no phone better than the Note 3 for interaction. Playing games on it look amazing. I love it.
Now, both of you, do you find that Samsung's new Galaxy S5's ability to be not waterproof but water resistant somewhat of a selling point to families and people who normally accidentally get wet phones, and they have white rice on standby like all the time because things get dropped and whatever the case may be, as water and things of that nature. Do you see that kind of as like what people kind of point to, like, hey, I'd like this feature?
Yeah,
we don't encourage people to get them wet, but it happens.
Yeah, and I just saw something just today on Twitter. I didn't get a chance to respond to the person, but I kind of saw it flash in I have a Verizon feed on Twitter, and anytime someone says the word Verizon, I could see it. And someone had an S5 today, and they just talked about how they accidentally dropped it in water. Like, I was doing the dishes, and I dropped it in the water, and I picked it up and just dried it off, and it still worked. And it was just, you kind of see that now with a lot of these phones where they're all going to, where they're not, military spec, but they are now coming to water resistant. Before, you got a drop of water on your phone, and you were done.
Yeah, it's over. Game over.
Right. So now they're coming. The screens have the Gorilla Glass. So a lot of the phones have at least a little bit more resistance, and the phones are becoming a little bit more water resistant. So it's so interesting. It just blows me away. Just in general, what phones can do now. Just coming from where I came from 18 years ago, when we had 3 phones and three price plans, and that was all you had. Oh, 50 minutes isn't enough? How about 150 or 250? And that's it.
Yeah, the different tiers and everything. Yeah.
Right. That's all you had. You had 3 plans and we had 3 phones. And now, oh my gosh, there's just so much coming out. Nobody can keep up with it.
Yeah, I love the diversity. I absolutely love the diversity. So having said that, what are some of the hot new devices Verizon is selling? Paul, you go first.
Well, you've kind of seen, everything's kind of cyclical with all the bigger, kind of more name brand phones, right? We just had a new, the whole Droid lineup refresh with the Mini, the Ultra, and the Max, and then the Samsung's refresh with the GS5, and then, of course, there's rumors of other ones coming, and then You've got the Windows just had the Nokia icon, then the Blackberries even had their Z10 and Q10. So you've kind of see the whole cycle. Of course, the HTC One M8 just came out. So everyone has released. There you go. There's your icon. Everyone has released kind of their newest device as a cycle. You know, the new tablets coming out all the time. So just seeing them all come on. A lot of people, as you know, are manufacturer specific. Some people love their HTCs or their Samsungs or their Apples or their Blackberries. You know, so people are deathly loyal, and there's YouTube videos about my phone's better than your phone, and you're a fanboy of this, and you know, I mean, people will fight to the death to defend their phone. So
yeah, absolutely,
there's something else.
So, what do you find that people, and this is not necessarily Verizon corporate, but just a you question. What's the number one newest one that you always get pinged on?
Go ahead, Brenda.
Well, I would say probably the S5 right now.
Okay.
A lot of people even will just tweet me and say, hey, I'm really loving this S5. You know, what I hear a lot from bloggers and especially people with families is that they want to take pictures and they want to take great video and they want it to be easy. So people like the S5, but I'm also seeing, you know, some people liking music phones, for example. Some phones are supposed to have better quality sound, and so that's something that people are looking for now too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Brenda, same question to you.
Well, I would say, you know, like Paul just covered some of that ground, but I would say the M8, what was interesting about that one from HTC is it was marketed as having Beats sound, you know, that brand sound. So people who really use their phone for their playlists and all that sort of stuff or streaming music really value that. As far as the photography, the Nokia Lumia has been out a little while, but it really has a superior camera and a lot of capability. Plus, there are people out there who are into the Windows operating system, and so that's a fun device. And then, you know, like we already kind of covered the ground with the Samsung. You're making like some kind of like gesture.
He's a big Windows guy. JJ loves his Windows phone.
I love my Windows stuff. I gotta say, I'm not biased. We at STLTechTalk are completely agnostic, but I use Windows phones as my daily drivers. And I think, bar none, the cameras are beautiful. It's wonderful. The icon's gorgeous, and so is the 928 that you guys have. That's real. I think it's at no cost now with contracts. So I mean, those are gorgeous phones. And especially the new one, the icon, very hot. I'm just a huge fan of it. And that's the version that's being released now all over the world. So I'm a little partial, obviously. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Lumia lineup, so it's good to hear that you're kind of, you know, saying that people are digging the photo quality and that you yourself like the photo quality as well.
Yeah, and it does offer a lot of built-in editing tools and things that really make it easy. And what I really liked about it was I don't have a lot of experience using a Windows device day to day, but it wasn't hard to pick up. It was really very simple. Yeah,
absolutely. And that point is driven home every time I hook somebody up with a Windows phone. They're like, this is so easy to use, it's crazy. But for time's sake, Kevin, you're up.
All right. You know, Paul, earlier you mentioned something, you know, about Twitter, following social media and stuff like that. We've got a question in the Q&A from Jimmy Alcurry. He wants to know how social media affects your PR or your customer service, you know.
Okay, so, yeah. Well, there is we do have, you know, Verizon support, and a lot of times if I see a tweet come through, if I'll take time out of the day and look through the Twitter feed. I don't sit there and stare at it all day, but I'll see one come through where someone maybe says something positive, like, hey, I just got my new Verizon phone, I love it so much, and I'll click on it to reply to it, and I'll see that Verizon, you know, they already beat me to it. You know, they already, like, HQ already said something about it. So then I'll localize it and I'll be like, hey, I'm glad you like your phone, or if they, you know, I'm glad you like your S5. Check out all the cool camera features. You can do slow motion video on it or something like that. Give them a little tip. So that way someone who's sitting at home and they might think, well, I'm only one of 100 million customers that Verizon has. I'm not special. But yet now this one PR guy, if they click my profile, they can see I'm just, some PR dude that works in Illinois.
Right.
Actually took time to reach out to me to welcome me, give me a tip on my phone. So I think it's the ability to give it a little more of a personal touch when you can identify people that that just got a phone or have a question. And then of course Verizon support is also on Twitter, and they help people. They go a little more detailed. Like if someone has a question, sometimes I'll try to help them out, and if I can't, I'll pass them off if it's a little over my head.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely one advantage of social media and being able to just connect with people these days. It helps build a nice, stronger relationship. So, Brenda, what's kind of your experience with social media? I know you're pretty present on Twitter, a heavy Twitter user.
Yeah, what's interesting is I think it's great, like when there's a problem. So a massive thunderstorm comes through, and maybe some lines are down, and we can get that information out. Hey, your service is going to be back in 20 minutes.
Right.
Or we have that ability to provide a quick update and a quick response, and also it's a way to hear from customers if they have a question or an issue or a complaint, and they don't have to wait to get a response on that. So that part is really valuable. Plus, I just love reading the trends. I stay so informed by being on Twitter and seeing what the bloggers and the reviewers and just regular people are saying about mobile and about tech. That really helps me keep current.
Nice.
Nice, absolutely. Now, this may be a completely crazy. Do you guys use that tool to reach out and do like benefit programs, or when you're sponsoring stuff, kind of retweeting that stuff out?
We do, and our primary philanthropic cause is Hopeline. It's domestic violence awareness and prevention.
Oh, yeah.
So we do support a lot of domestic violence agencies throughout the company with Hopeline, and then we also support Verizon Foundation, which makes a variety of grants in education, healthcare, and different fields.
That's gorgeous. I'm going to have to put that. You said that was help, or what was the name of it? Helpline?
Hopeline. Mm-hmm. We have it's on our website. And we also have a Twitter handle for Hopeline.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice.
We are going to do something about that. Okay. Kevin, you're up with the question.
Yep. And Paul, before we move on a little bit further, back in the event page, James Serino had asked a question about if Verizon might ever go into the GSM channels, or will they stay entrenched with the CDMA? Did you get a chance to look into that at all today, or?
Yeah, I did ask one friend of mine. I mean, you never know. I mean, as far as on the tech side, you never know how it's going to work with Spectrum and all that. Our old regional president used to say Star Wars, right? All the stuff, because I mean, you never know what's going to happen. As far as, who knows, 10 years from now, maybe they'll have this GSM band that's 20 times bigger than the LTE band, and then we're all going to. I mean, you never know. But right now, that's not something that Verizon uses. A lot of our phones are, can roam internationally on GSM. They have the GSM radio to use for when you're in other areas.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's good to see.
Good to know. Yeah.
So, how has the Amazons and like phone warehouses of the world affected like brick and mortar stores like the Verizon? Because I mean, for example, in the area that I live in, our Verizon store just like suddenly up and closed, which I didn't even know about until I driving by one day. I'm like, wait a second, our Verizon store used to be here. Where'd it?
Right.
So I mean, I don't know what the details are on that, but so what do you guys think about the advent of everybody being able to check stuff out online, and what internet has had to do with things like that?
Go ahead, Brenda.
Okay, well, we have some research that shows the majority of customers already research a phone or a tablet before they come in to look at one. So they might already have an idea of what they're interested in or what they like. So we have a more educated customer coming in, but what's the advantage there is that we can still tell them about things that they might not know about, or that maybe they don't consider important, but something that they hadn't thought of. So I think the customer starts out a little more educated now, and they're definitely reading those device reviews before they make a decision. But we can help reaffirm that they've made the right choice.
Right. When I was in sales, it used to be amazing. I mean, that's why I say I never call myself an expert, because then people will think you automatically know everything. I say I'm educated and I'm good with devices, but when I was in sales, I mean, customers would come in and they would know everything. I mean, they would know everything about certain phones, everything about features. I mean, the stats of the phone, everything. And sometimes, I mean, there'd be a lot of cases where they knew more than I did about a certain, about a device or something like that, and it would just, because they're very educated these days.
Sweet.
So what I wanted to kind of bring up in this little section, if you will, was the when you go into a store, most people that don't go to a store that buy online don't realize that you guys actually sell peripheral devices like the Fitbits and the smart, and all these different other kinds of devices and services, cases, because people are like, oh man, I need a car charger with this. I don't know why I didn't get one at the time, or a screen protector, or whatever the case may be is. And a lot of the times they're missing out on those experiences. Sometimes obviously you go to a store that's maybe the salesperson's not that good or whatever, but ideally you go in and you get the full experience. You get the educated customer walking in, but now they know more. Now not only do they know more, but they're able to get everything in one shot instead of kind of sporadically having this weird drawn out experience. Also with the transfer of data and personal information. So that I just kind of wanted to make note of that as well to some of our listeners who kind of abandoned that brick and mortar style stuff, that there are some definite benefits from that.
Oh, sure. There's so many smart accessories now. I mean, that's taken such a leap just in like 3 years. We've gone from just having a couple accessories. Now there's half the store is helicopters and speakers and headphones and toys and balls that roll around you can control with your phone, and there's crazy stuff. You can't. It's impossible to keep on top of all of them because I'd have to order like 5 things every day. So you pick and choose what you can kind of figure out, and yeah, there's just so much stuff in a store, even in just the smaller stores. I mean, we have bigger stores opening up now, like the Mall of America one is like this gigantic store, but even smaller stores have crazy amount of accessories.
And two, also your guys are kind of the brick and mortar stores are actually, they're competing against the Best Buys, the Apples, the Microsoft stores, and all these other stores now that sell your guys' devices too. So that's kind of a little competitive there, which is obviously good for the customer because they can go in and get different experiences and everyone. So some topics I wanted to talk about before we let you guys go was Verizon, and I recently posted an article about this on our site about the large 4G LTE presence in rural communities. But tell us a little bit about what makes that service be stronger in those areas, and then transition a little bit into what XLTE is and things of that nature.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Oh, well, I can say, we're well on our way to covering our entire 3G footprint with 4G LTE throughout the country, and I think we're about done with that. I mean, there might be a couple little pockets here and there, but for the most part, all of the United States is covered with 4G LTE now where we have service. So that's a big advantage, and customers, I think, who hadn't had it before didn't realize what they were missing, especially with data, people watching videos and, wanting more and more data all the time. So that's definitely happening. But what's big trend is toward automated things in your home. Like, for example, controlling your thermostat remotely with your cell phone, controlling camera, watching your dog during the day, or, a nursery monitor, or there's just dozens and dozens of things coming out now where people are not just using their phone for communication, but they're using it to have some control over their home environment.
Yeah, really becoming the window to your, the window to your world. Being able to have that one screen that has multiple functionalities to it, for sure.
Right. So faster data speeds definitely enable that.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, because and faster data speeds help with what we were before the show dealing with the
Right.
It definitely takes care of that. That wasn't Verizon's fault, by the way. It was a Minecraft issue.
And XLTE,
yeah.
To finish off that question, is more, like Brenda said, our 4G LTE build out is pretty much complete. Now what they can do with XLTE is deploy some smaller solutions in strategic areas where there's already LTE coverage, but they need more coverage. They need more spectrum there, dense urban areas, places where there's a lot of usage, so they can get a little more strategic, so we can continue to back up that promise of 5 to 12 meg down, 2 to 5 meg up. And of course, I mean, everyone who sees it, I've done speed tests on my phone where I'm at like crazy, like 70 meg. I mean, a friend of mine sent me a screenshot of 90 when he was downtown Chicago. He must have been standing underneath it or something. I don't know.
I know.
That's impressive.
I feel there. I can taste metal in my mouth, but
but my Netflix looks fantastic. Breaking Bad looks fantastic.
My phone, right? Fantastic.
Still clear.
Right. I mean, anything over, I think anything over, in my opinion, like 5 or 10, it's transparent. You don't even notice it because it's
Once you get up into 20 and stuff, it's like
right. It doesn't matter. Right. So the XLTE just allows us to be a little more strategic and add on to the spectrum in those dense areas.
Another question that came up, Kevin, you can kind of ask this because I know that you were really curious about this, which was some of the data plans in tier.
Right. As a lot of people are going more and more towards like prepaid options, they're buying their device outright. They don't want to be tied in with a contract, even though there's all kinds of these new early upgrade plans and stuff. With the Verizon's prepaid, one of the drawbacks, in my opinion, is the fact that there's no access to like the LTE data signal. Is there like any reasoning? I mean, have you guys heard the possibility of opening that LTE data up to the prepaid customers?
Right. Well, it's kind of like what I said before. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, it's like every year I always think, if you could back me up a year and tell me all the things that would have happened in that year, I wouldn't have believed it. I mean, There's just so, like Brenda said, it's like a new job every day. There's so much stuff changes so quickly that for a gigantic company, I mean, they turn on a dime. And so you never know, I mean, what's going to happen almost on a daily or weekly basis. I mean, new promotions come out right away, and stuff happens, and sometimes we know about it in advance. And like Brenda said, and she can definitely attest to, sometimes you have a fire drill that day, like everything just changed. So
right.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta pull the fire alarm sometimes, and you just never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and speaking of prepaid, Best Buy actually is having a sale right now on the Verizon version of the Moto G from Motorola, which is of course an Android device. They're having it on sale for like $50. So anybody looking for any kind of prepaid service, a $50 Android phone that's got quad-core processor and a gig of RAM on it, it's a pretty good buy.
Right. Yep. Yeah. When that phone went on prepay about 4 or 6 months ago, something like that. The 3G version of the Moto G.
Yeah.
And it's a good phone. I used it for a while when it first came out. Real nice, sleek form factor. The UI was really nice. I like that one.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and kind of wrap this up a little bit with Verizon is now the title sponsor for the IndyCar series of auto racing and a huge presence at the recent Indy 500. What are some of the ways Verizon's made sure that race fans were able to stay connected? Brenda?
Well, as you know, Verizon was a title sponsor for the IndyCar series, and for the first time we had displays in the fan village, and those were open to anyone who was there. And the purpose of that was to really introduce people to some of our solutions they might not know about, like we just talked about connected phone, connected car. A lot of people don't realize how much goes over wireless into their car, and ISIS, which is mobile payment technology that's really starting to catch on.
That's very interesting. Yeah, absolutely. So, have you either one of you used the ISIS yet?
Well, we used it at the vending machine at our office. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Oh yeah, no, I used it too. I used the when it first came out, the American Express rebate and then the Toys R Us rebate were great coupons, because that's kind of the cool thing about ISIS. They can just load a coupon up, like you fire it up on your phone, like, oh hey, look at that, I got it, I got a coupon I didn't even know about. So it's kind of weird. People look at you a little funny when you go to pay, and you're like going like this, and they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I want to do that.
Right, the guy at Toys R Us, the clerk, I said, he looked at me, I'm like, has anyone else done this? He's like, no. He's like, I don't know if this is even going to work. And I tapped my phone on there, and it worked. And he's like, oh. He was thrilled.
Golly.
He's like, yeah, okay, here's your receipt. He looked at me like he didn't know if I was scamming him or it was kind of funny.
Yeah, well, I got to say, just real fast, companies are making it way too easy for me to spend my money, because before it was taking it out of my wallet, which, you make the sound, and then taking the dollars out, and it's like, I still haven't bought it yet, it's still okay, you can turn back now, and then counting out how much you can still turn back. Now it's just like, done. Oh, there's no, kind of, you shouldn't be doing this right now.
There's no realness to it. It's all, this isn't real money. I'm just using my phone. That doesn't count.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Brenda.
Well, I was going to say, I was at a presentation where the speaker called it dirty cash. And he said, well, why would you want to carry that dirty cash, when you can just wave your phone?
Right.
That's actually a good idea, because, cash is really dirty, unless you get those crisp $100 bills. But yeah, that's interesting. You said that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, obviously. But I hope that there's a more comprehensive solution, because right now ISIS is kind of siloed, and there's some issues along with that and all that kind of jazz. But I wanted to also touch on the digital antenna systems.
Right. Yeah, there is one. I was going to mention that about another thing they did at Indy is there is a DAS system there, and you're seeing that go into a lot of the large venues with baseball stadiums, football stadiums, stuff like that.
It's at Scott Trade Center.
Yeah.
We just went live at Scott Trade Center in March with the DAS.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, because customers, all people have just a thirst. They want to use their phone everywhere. And when you've got, 30, 40, 50, 70, 80,000 people all in one place,
that one antenna is not going to do it.
Right. You might need two, right? So
right. You might need to offload some of that onto somebody else. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So that's a really cool solution.
Yeah, the thirst for data is off the charts, and I wish my stock portfolio looked like the data charts I see, because it was like this for a while, and then it's like every year it's like this. I mean, it's just going straight up, and every year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So trying to have the supply and demand meet up is a daily challenge.
Absolutely. Well, wait. So you can see that in real time? No, we won't unpack that right now.
I'm gonna shut you off right now. Hold on.
Yeah. No. It's okay. Anyways, that pretty much wraps up the interview segment of the show. We can't thank you both for being on tonight. Before we let you go, we have noticed, Kevin and I, that you both have application picks of the week. Brenda, why don't you go first with your application pick?
Well, I don't know where to start with my application pick. I'm gonna let Paul start.
I'll go first because I'm big. I love playing games on my phone, and I used to play a lot of Clash of Clans when I saw the Super Bowl commercial. Mm-hmm. We started playing Clash of Clans with my kids, and now I've switched to Boom Beach, which is another game by Supercell, and which I was referred to by my children.
All right.
So I've been playing Boom Beach a lot these last couple weeks. It's pretty fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, I'm not familiar with that. Is that on all the stores or just iOS and Android?
It's iOS and Android. I'd have to check if it's on the other ones.
Okay. I'll have to double check that as well.
Right. Yeah. Check out. See if it's on you got a Windows phone right there. See if it is.
I'm pulling it up right now.
It's a fun game. And you know what?
And Brenda.
All right. Well, this is one that it's going to sound like a shameless plug, but I'm going to throw it out there. I use the Great Clips app all the time to get my kids' haircut. And that might sound silly, but it keeps us from having to wait in line. I check in, use the app, and then by the time we get there, they're ready to take them, and it makes my life easier.
And actually, now that I look, Boom Beach is not on my Android, only on iOS. Sorry about that.
Only on iOS. Only on iOS.
I'm sure it's coming soon to Android.
Yeah, it's not on Windows either, so I don't feel so out in the cold, shivering out in the cold.
So lonely.
Yeah. The other thing we'd like to have our guests talk about as well is upcoming events. Is there any upcoming events that either one of you would like to advertise here while you have our audience's ear?
Brenda, do you have anything to talk about?
Well, hockey season's almost over, so I would encourage people to go check out the DAS at Scott Trade. But we also have one at Busch Stadium, and so if you are a Cardinals fan, you may notice a really, really great data speeds when you're there this summer. We used to have to bring in a lot of temporary capacity when the Cardinals were in the playoffs and so forth, and we don't really have to do that as much anymore.
Great, great, very cool, very cool. Any more scheduled hangouts like we did, Paul, the other day?
Probably not one in June because there's a lot of things going on and a personal vacation for this guy too. So
okay,
all
right.
But July, maybe another one in July.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, Brenda, Paul, you guys were wonderful guests. Kevin, was there anything that you wanted to say before we let him go?
No, just thank you for coming on, and hopefully we can, like Brenda. I know last year we were able to get together and have lunch one day with bringing in a few of the local St. Louis area bloggers. Took us out to lunch, and that was a great time, and getting to hang out at the Schlafly, either Bottle Works or Tap Room. I can't remember which one that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time.
We need to do that again.
Absolutely. Anytime you guys want to, we're definitely there the next time.
All right. Just definitely, let us know, and we'll make sure to spread the word and have people come on out and check out some devices, accessories that you bring, and enjoy the gathering.
So, Paul, where can people find more information about you?
Yeah, that's when my computer freaked. I lost my little. It's gone. I lost it. It used to be there. Right.
It's okay.
Right. Just VZW Paul U on Twitter. VZW Paul U. That's me.
All
awesome. Right. Brenda?
I'm VCW Brenda.
Man, so easy.
Simple.
Piece of cake.
Yeah. It's almost like it was intentionally that way instead of Bob John 2949 No.
Right.
Again, guys, it was a pleasure having you on the show tonight. Thank you so much for being on. If you want to find out more information about these guys, don't forget to hit them up on Twitter. They're very active there, and we just can't thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We really appreciate it, and we hope you have a wonderful evening.
All right, thanks a lot.
Awesome. So, JJ, so now we're going to get into a little bit of the news rundown, right?
Kevin, go ahead and get us started with the news
rundown. All right. So the first story that I would like to talk about tonight is Samsung has unveiled a new device called the Samsung Z. Now, the Samsung Z is not running Android, as we all know. The Samsung Z is going to be running what is called Tizen. Some of you might be familiar with Tizen from the new Galaxy Gear smartwatches. Samsung ditched Android, essentially, on their new Galaxy Gear 2 and the Galaxy Gear Neo to run basically a very stripped-down version, somewhat similar to Android. A lot of things look a lot like Android. But this new Samsung Z is going to be launching in Russia first, and it's going to eventually be spreading out around in various places around the world in the future over time. It looks very similar to like the Galaxy S series, so visually it's very familiar. It's going to have a 4.8-inch Super AMOLED display, 2.3 gigahertz quad-core processor. It's going to be using a lot of web apps, so it's not like a traditional, you go to a Google Play Store or you go to the Apple iTunes for the App Store and stuff like that. So there's just a little bit differences there. No pricing or exact release dates. Again, it's going to be launching in Russia in Q3, and then we'll eventually expand a little bit further around the world.
So, what do you think that this has on the impact of the relationship between Samsung and Android?
That's really going to be curious to see, because it wasn't just late last year that we thought Samsung and Google kind of had a heart-to-heart to get Samsung a little bit more on board with what Google was doing, and now Samsung's kind of like going off on their own, and hey, we're going to release our own phone with our own mobile operating system on here. So I don't know. It's Samsung is the largest maker of Android devices. So
yeah,
it's like whatever they want to do, they can kind of do. It's gonna be when this news dropped, it was like, wow.
I think collectively everybody was like, you know what? Samsung maybe actually, because they had their Samsung specific conference recently within last year. They've also had Tizen smartwatches and that the Gear Fit, and I gotta say, you know, you can really see kind of a clear map, like, hey, Android, we don't really need you. We can just use your open APIs and connect right to it through Tizen. So,
I mean,
you know, they have their own store. They have their own app store. They put S in front of everything. So I can see that being a thing. I really can.
It is going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few months with this. And I mean, visually, things look just like typical Galaxy line. So people, I mean, we'll have the link to check this out over at SamsungMobilePress.com. You know, for anybody else that might be interested in checking this out that haven't heard about this yet. So
it's a sexy story.
Yeah, it's different. That's for darn sure.
Well, me and Alejandro, who's not on the show tonight, but and is probably going to just be a fill-in from now on, just because he's doing his thing, and more to come from him. Yeah. But he's in a bunker, and we're not going to let him see the light of day. We're gonna feed him through the old school mailing technique of, you know, boom, air by air. But basically. We covered WWDC, which is Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, where they talked about not really a whole lot of things. No, they talked about a whole bunch of stuff for iOS 8 and for Mac OS 10 Yosemite is the code name for that, basically the name of that. And really, to me, the first thing that stepped out to both Alejandro and myself was the lack of new hardware. I was so disappointed in the fact that we did not see new hardware at this event. Now, it probably wasn't ready yet. We're hearing stories from Engadget and iMore and all these other different places that that they weren't ready to release the new iWatch, or the version of the iWatch that everybody thinks is coming. It may not even be called iWatch, but honestly. That was the biggest disappointment. So I think it was around the hour and 45-minute mark. Me and let's see, yeah, but me and Alejandro, and there was somebody else in there for a minute who was commenting. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so basically at that hour and 45-minute mark, it was Alejandro goes, JJ, this is not enough time for a new device announcement. And it was an hour and 48-minute mark. It was like, there's not enough time. I was like, dude, they're not announcing it. And then all the way to the end. And it was just like, really, wow. Kevin, tell me what you thought about this week's information of the WWDC.
Well, I haven't had a chance to watch the replay of the keynote, but I mean, WWDC... it's a developer conference. So in a way, you shouldn't expect new hardware. If they do give you new hardware, it's a bonus,
right?
I mean, it's, you know, just kind of like glancing over some of the highlights. You know, you get a lot of, you know, I've been looking at a lot of the feedback on social media, and of course, a lot of the Android fanboys and everything are like, well, hey, congrats, you're getting a lot of stuff that Android users have had for a couple years now.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the biggest things, of course, that jumps out to me. I mean, I love keyboards. I mean, again, I've mentioned before, keyboard apps on your phone is the most important, most used application on your phone, is your keyboard.
And I was interested to hear that messaging was the most used app. You're talking about the most used feature of it, but the messaging app was the most used application. But go ahead.
Yeah, because I mean, to use Messenger, you have to use a keyboard. Technically, the keyboard is an app.
That's right.
What really strikes me, and that's always been one of my biggest complaints of the iPhone, is the fact that you can't do anything different with the keyboard. It's just what you see is what you get. Learn to live with it. And I don't really type too well on there because I like using, you know, trace typing, swipe typing, however you want to call it. It's word flow on Windows Phone. It's swipe or swift key, depending on which app, which keyboard you download on Android. So I was really glad to see them open up that API and that open up a little bit more from being so closed to now app developers like SwiftKey and Swipe. They can finally get their keyboards out on iOS devices, and I think iPhone users are going to really be finally this. We've been waiting for this. So I'm excited to see that, and they keep talking about the iPhone 6 is going to be a little bit bigger, with 4.5-inch display or maybe even larger. So I might take another look at iPhone. I mean, who knows? We're just gonna have to wait and see. There's a lot of stuff that'll be coming out in the next couple.
I don't know. I just got this feeling that they're not gonna, and I'm probably gonna be wrong, which I sometimes am. And I'm willing to admit that because I'm a bigger man than you are. No,
Right.
not you, Kevin, but other people.
You are bigger than I.
Well, actually, yeah, I'm literally taller. But so Alejandro made the comment that at least he knows for now the value of his iPhone 5S and his current iPad and all that kind of stuff is not going to go down.
Yeah, it's not just going to bottom because they've got the 6 is coming right.
Yeah, the 6, and then everybody's trying to do a fire sale on the the iPhones and stuff. But some of the things. So the new look, obviously, Mac OS X is it's literally working its way to being completely just the iOS version of everything. There's a reason for that is to have that operating system be more like the phone because it's a more on the phone it's more successful, so to speak. There's notifications and widgets, the ability to answer a call, make a call, text, all of that from your laptop. Pretty cool. Not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. The integration with Bing and the Spotlight search. So right now, Windows 8.1 users currently have the ability just to start typing from the start screen, and it does a Bing search. So it searches through your current existing files, file directory system, and then web pages that have that search. And apparently, Apple people didn't know that was available, but now it's available to them through what's called Spotlight on Mac OS X. Another cool design thing was the translucent effect and all that. So we're just seeing that blend, that Johnny Ive style that he brought with the flat UI and the translucent and all that kind of jazz from iOS 7 into iOS 8 and then onto the desktop. Something else that was really interesting was the drop in the iCloud price and the fact that you could use more file types with the iCloud drive. Now, it's still a cost. You still have to pay for it, but they did drop the price on that to kind of compete with Box, Dropbox, Microsoft's OneDrive, and Google's Google Drive. So very interesting stuff there. Just to kind of run through some other things was the hotspot. That was really interesting as well, turning your phone into a hotspot so that you can use it. Obviously, that was already there, but now there's some deep, more integrated features. I'm not going to unpack that too much because it's kind of boring. The other thing was the health kit, centralizing your health info. So one of the biggest issues for me that's always been with Android is these permissions that you sign your life away for every application, it feels like. And now that Apple is releasing this health kit that's going to come out with iOS 8 for the phone, now I'm actually transitioning the conversation from the desktop to the iOS side, but the phone and the iPad and the iPhone. So having said that, Nike and Mayo Health Clinic are third parties that are going to have access to some of your health information. I don't know how I feel about that necessarily because I don't want these other applications. I would like for them to stay siloed. Kevin, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, when you talk about Nike, they've kind of dropped the little program that they had before. I can't remember exactly what it was called, Nike Fuel or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So they've changed some things around with that, and maybe that was just as a precursor to what was announced with this. I mean, like I said, I didn't get a chance to really watch too much of it, so I don't really have a whole lot to say on it. But it is going to be interesting to see what these future partnerships go for. I mean, we've talked about Samsung, and Samsung's big on all these little fitness apps and stuff like that. You got the whole S Health on the Galaxy S5 and of course the Note series. So I mean, as more and more of these mobile devices get more features coming to them, it's just all about how it is that you can track your steps, check your heart check your pulse or your heart rate just by touching a sensor on your device. Keeping track of that, keeping track of your diet, your calorie intake, calories burned by all kinds of various methods. It's good. I mean, in America we're kind of a slightly overweight country, so.
Yes, we are.
So I guess we're definitely the target market. We're the target country for this.
Here's the other cool thing that came out that not a lot of people are talking about right now for some reason, which is family sharing. Families. Now you can have up to 6 members in a family group where you can share your iTunes purchases across those devices. You can have calendars, reminders, photos, games, music, TV series, movies. You can share all of that content with up to 6 members of your family.
Yeah, for Apple, that's
cool
a huge
is
step.
that?
That is a huge step for Apple.
But how cool is that? I mean, if
great.
your family is in the Apple ecosystem, you are thanking God right now. The Apple God, anyway. That is
how it goes. Mom and dad have iPhones. When they go to upgrade their iPhones, son and daughter tend to acquire the used ones if the parents don't decide to trade them in. They're using iPads earlier and earlier as forms of entertainment. So that's cool that you're only going to have to buy things like once and be able to share them within your family members.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, but there's still nothing like getting work done on Windows. The other thing that came out was Siri is now hands-free. So that was a headline. Was the ability? It's so funny because I have to say there's a radio button that's on the iPhone now. Or that's going to be on the iPhone with iOS 8, and it reminded me a lot of the S Pen feature for Android. And then the OK Google was already the device is turned on. OK Google, so so Google's been they've had this for a long time, and now it's on iOS, and it's kind of like they totally did that because of Cortana and because of Google OK Google. So now it's Hey Siri. So that's kind of interesting.
Right, which, I mean, it's a great service, and there's no reason why they shouldn't have that. I mean, if they want Siri to be the best product that it can be, well, you've got to have features like that. That's one reason why I really like the Moto X is the fact that you can just leave your phone just sitting right there on your desk. You don't have to touch it, anything. You can be across the room and just say, okay, Google now, call such and such, or text and such this, and you don't have to worry about it. Or when you're driving, okay, Google now, give me directions to the grocery store or the nearest gas station. And you don't even have to pick up your phone, and it'll just start checking whatever it is that you wanted to look up. So I'm excited about it. And whenever Microsoft brings that same functionality to Cortana in the future, which they're going to have to because it's going to make Cortana even better.
Absolutely. And the next 2 things I just want to talk about real fast is why did you bring another language that I have to learn? So Apple introduced something called Swift. I believe that's what it was called. Let me scroll back down here.
Yeah, I believe it was Swift, because every time I see Swift and they talked about keyboards, I'm like, are they talking about Swift key? What are they talking about here?
Yeah, are they talking about Swift key, or are they talking about the new? Okay, so why did they make another developer language? Really, it's just for games. It feels like right now I'm gonna have to dive into the SDK and all that kind of jazz to kind of check it out. But as it stands right now, interesting. Why? I don't know. Drives me a little crazy because I'm already having to learn a gajillion languages. I don't want to learn another one. That does pretty much the same thing. So it just kind of feels like it's not necessary. And the other thing was widgets in the notification center. To me, Kevin, and this is just personal observation, but it feels like some of the comments that are being thrown out there that iOS is catching up with Android, and they're kind of becoming the same. Not the same. They're having a lot of familiar features. Right. Do do you feel that without the cynicism in there, that that's kind of true? That with widgets and with interactive things and with more customization, that they're becoming, and no release of new hardware and current firmware and all this other kind of stuff, that they've put more focus on the software side, and in doing so have mimicked a little bit of their competition?
Yeah, and my answer in response to that is, so what? That's good.
Sure.
I mean, there's great things about each platform, and that's why we are who we are. And we might not prefer to use one platform over the other, but we will definitely not tell somebody, no, I wouldn't get that. That doesn't have this. That don't have that. It's fine. It's not something to get all worked up about, to get into an internet fanboy war and have big old arguments over. That's fine. It's good. By Apple doing this, it's gonna make me give them another look. I mean, whenever their new devices come out, and I think whenever they do release more details about the actual next iPhone hardware,
okay,
you're going to get a lot more details about what iOS 8 is going to do. There's going to be more features announced that they can't really say now because they don't want to tip their hand at what is coming with the iPhone 6. So,
Kevin, you're up with the next news story.
All right, so. Recently, within the last couple months, Microsoft came out with a touch-featured version of Office for iPad, and of course, Word, Excel, PowerPoint are like the top downloaded productivity apps in the iTunes store. Now, Mary Jo Foley has reported on ZDNet.com that Microsoft may be coming out with Touch First Office on Android before it comes out on Windows 8. So that's kind of got some people up in arms, especially the Microsoft fans. It's like, when are we going to get ours? You're putting it out on Apple. You're putting it out on Android. Where's our piece of the pie? So, I'm trying to look through here just to see if she's got any kinds of estimated time.
So here's some of my thoughts on this, Kevin, real quick. JJ being me and who I am and all that, my first gut reaction when I saw this was like, what the? But no, it totally makes sense. I mean, if you already have the touch-friendly version of that developed for iOS, why not just port that code on over to use it on Android? I mean, to me, from a developer's perspective, it makes sense. And the people who complain, like, where is it on my Windows? I got to be honest. You already have the best version of Office right now. Like, the touch version is nice, sure, but I mean, we're still running an awesome version of Office. I have the 365 suite, so my touch-friendly versions of Office really isn't all that bad. It's not a bad experience. I have a great experience with it. So for people who are complaining, I don't think it's legitimate. And even though somebody might hate on me for saying that, I still don't believe that their intention was to completely push off and make it seem like their Windows and Microsoft doesn't care. It's just it's easier to work on that project because they want to make sure that the Office version for Windows 8 is solid, and I get that because it's already a solid product right now. Like, why dumb it down? So that's my initial thoughts on that. So, Kevin, you said you wanted to talk about some stuff for a second there.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see how it's going to be. And like you said, there's already a great product out for Microsoft Windows devices. Personally, on like my Surface, I don't even use the Metro style OneNote. I use what I'm already getting through my Office 365. Same thing with my laptop. I don't use the Metro style. I use the regular 365 version, 2013, and I just prefer that. And like you said, you got more features. It's just easier to use, and it makes more sense on iPads and Nexus 7s and Galaxy Tabs, these tablets. to have these touch first coming out on those, because most Microsoft devices, yes, the Surface line is touch, the Dell Venue Pro line is touch enabled, but you've got keyboards available, more so with the Surface. It's more designed to be used with the keyboard. Having touch is great, but you don't have to have that.
Really, how much
work?
Office is a productivity suite, and how much work do you do when you're tapping on the screen? Not very much.
No.
I use it with the keyboard because I cannot stand not using it with the keyboard.
I can't type on an iPad or a Nexus 7 the same way that I can type on a Surface or something with a Bluetooth keyboard or a separate keyboard. Absolutely.
I mean, and that's a huge difference. And where people move from this is the last thing I'm gonna say. The keyboard on like a BlackBerry, moving from a BlackBerry type of keyboard to an on-screen keyboard, that was not huge of a jump. But you cannot type as fast on an on-screen keyboard as you can on a keyboard. Period. Right. Regardless of what somebody says. So that's one of those things that isn't gonna change. Even if you add like Swift key, so you're sitting there like doing this, your fingers. Just because it's a bigger surface doesn't make it go any faster. I'm just saying.
I'm not going to be typing out a full-fledged 500,000 word blog post or review on a tablet like that just because it's got Office on there. I'm going to be punching that out on a regular keyboard.
Absolutely. So a couple of other things I kind of wanted to talk about tonight was. The Bing being the default search in the Mac OS X Spotlight. What did you think of that instead of Google?
All right, say that again real quick.
So right now, you know how like on Windows 8 you type in something or whatever, it uses Bing to search.
Oh yeah.
Same thing for Mac Yosemite.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love, and with teachers and just other people that aren't real computer savvy, and I just tell people, well, I can't find such and such, so I just tell them, well, press your Windows key and just start typing.
Yeah.
Just type what you're looking for, and it'll show up.
Right.
Whenever they come say, well, I can't find such and such programs not installed on my computer, so like within 5 seconds, it's like, there it is.
Yeah, found it.
I just did a quick search.
Right.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been there since.
So it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Something else was Chrome goes 64-bit on Windows.
Yeah, that's going to be
32.
That's going to be interesting to a point. I mean, I guess it's more so for development aspect and just make sure.
Well, I've not been able to get my Chrome extension to look anywhere near as gorgeous as either Firefox or IE. Yeah. It's got this weird hue to it. It's not like HD, and I really like HD.
Yeah, so, I do have to give Firefox and the team at Mozilla credit. They're, what is it, Firefox 29 or is it 30? Right now is the newest one.
Yeah, 28, 29, something like that.
Yeah, but whatever the new version is that I know I've got installed, it's like, Firefox is making a comeback.
Yeah, and a lot of our users go through Firefox, so yay. There really isn't much else that I wanted to talk about this evening. How about yourself, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Just pretty good. There was just so much stuff going on, with where we're going. A lot of excitement with the launch of STL Tech Chic and a lot of great events coming up. Just found out we'll be covering the Strange Loop conference coming up in September here in St. Louis at the Peabody Opera House. So thank you, Strange Loop team, for letting us come out and doing that in a couple months. So
you just completely blew up this flow of the show. You skipped to announcements, and we're not doing picks, and it's a free-for-all night. It's free-for-all. It's just me and Kevin here. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Alejandro, come back! No. So a couple of things. If for the love of everything that's holy. So next week, June the 11th, JJ is going to be giving a talk. I'm not exactly sure on all the details yet, but I'll keep people apprised of that. Also, we want to make sure that we made mention that Coder Girl is going to be June 5th from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the St. Louis Science Center. That is a free event, but it's $10 for parking. Tomorrow morning,
Thursday.
You know what? I'm not going to do the one tomorrow morning. Women Entrepreneurs in St. Louis Picnic. That's going to be $16, June the 10th, and that's going to be 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. in Tower Grove Park. Also wanted to make note of Position for Wealth Small Business Virtual Summit 2014. If you have more information, or excuse me, if you wanted more information, please email info@pursueyourpurpose.com. I'll make sure I put that into the show notes for you, Kevin. Since you're messing with me a little bit, I'll mess with you.
There you go.
So those are a couple of things. Thank you, Patrick Quinn from Carpel Solutions. We're going to be having someone from their organization on our show soon. So thanks for giving me a call today. Really appreciate that. Also, thank you to Aubrey Bates, Alejandro Ramirez for meeting with us over the weekend. A lot of happening things that are going to be coming out of STL Tech Talk soon. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and give us your application pick of the week?
All right, the application that I've kind of chosen is called, it's based off a website, and the website is called Declutter. If I can get back here, I'll actually bring that specific name up. It is DECLUTTR. Now, what Declutter service is it allows you to scan like CDs, DVDs, video games, and lets you send them in, and of course you get money for them. So instead of having to deal with eBay and PayPal fees and this and that, it's entirely free to use. I don't even believe you have to pay for the shipping. So, okay, just briefly, right off their website. An easy way to make money. Declutter is the best way to get cash for your DVDs, CDs, and games. Sending your stuff to us is free. You can do it all in one place, and we'll send you one payment, hassle-free, simple to do, and really convenient. Find out how to sell your DVDs, CDs, and games. Click there on their website. So, declutter.com. And we'll have that in the show notes as well. So check them out.
Wow, you should be doing that for money, Kevin.
We will be.
We will be. Entrepreneur. I forgot how to spell it. Entrepreneur. God, why? Seriously? Entrepreneur? They have to spell it that way? You know what? I'm not even going to do that right now. My application pick of the week is Castle of Illusion for Windows Phone 8.1 or Windows Phone 8. I'm sorry. You know, people are going to dog on me a little bit, but I like the Sega Genesis version of this game, and they really brought it. It's Mickey and going through some cool Disney style game, fighting bad guys, saving Minnie and all that kind of jazz, and it's a lot of fun. And that is for $9.99, a more expensive game, but I got to tell you, bringing back some memories with this game. I really enjoyed it a lot, and I'm gonna have a couple of application picks next week. So I wanted to save those, and I wanted to kind of do a game this week, and that again, that's just on Windows Phone, and you can get that on Windows Phone 8, Windows Phone 8.1. Also wanted to thank Alejandro and Andy Long for their continued development of our STL Tech Talk app that's going to be available soon for Android, iOS, and Windows Phone. So keep a lookout for that as well. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to the end of the wonderful episode that we're calling episode 36?
No, for one thing I would like to ask everybody that listens to this, go to iTunes, go to Stitcher Radio, go to TuneIn Radio, go to wherever it is that you listen to this, and leave a review. Give us a star rating, something like that. Let us know what it is that you like about the show, what you might not like about the show. What can we improve on to help make this a better show that everybody is going to want to listen to? And if you enjoy our show, make sure to tell everybody about it.
That's right.
Tweet it out. Share links. We tweet the links out plenty of times. Share it with people. Introduce it to other people.
Jimmy, Daryl, everybody that listens to this show, man, spread the word.
Right.
Spread the word, and tell us what you want to hear about. We'll cover that more in detail and stuff. Our show only gets better. It only gets better from here.
And this is the people show. We want to talk about stuff that not only we like, but things that you guys like, things you want to hear, guests you want to hear from. We got some great guests lined up coming up in the future, and we've got some great guests coming up on Codecast, especially in the next month or so.
Scott Hanselman.
Yep, can't beat Scott Hanselman, or I believe Rich Campbell from .NET Rocks.
Yep.
Not bad names there. So it's definitely people that people want to hear from. So we want to bring some pretty big name guests here, and we can't do it without suggestions from you.
Yes, and if you don't, and if you downloaded this and you didn't participate, there's a way I can find you.
All right. And again, we want to thank everybody that asked questions for our guests, Jimmy, James. Again, thank you. Good questions. We'd love to have more questions for people.
Solid. Didn't do a tech ticker this week, but that's okay. We're going to change up how that's done. But having said that, again, thank you to Paul and thank you to Brenda when you're listening to this back. I'm sure you listen to the very end because you're that cool. We want to thank you for being on the show. It means a lot to us. So without anything else, Kevin, thank you for all that you do. Thank you to all of our fans. We love and thank you for your support of the show. So from the entire STL Tech Talk crew, stay frosty. We're out.
Bye, everybody.